All right. Good morning. Ooh. Wonderful to be here with all of you. I want to start by giving thanks to Chad and his team for convening us annually to have this important conversation about this piece of our lives about which we care so much. I also personally want to thank them for inviting me back. See, this is my third time. What you all maybe don't know that I know is that they give me a finite amount of time to speak that I have exceeded each time. And so this is my third time. This might be like 3 strikes you're out kind of thing. So if I'm not here next year, you'll know why, because I'm about to exceed the timeline again. I'm really glad to be here with all of you today at such a pivotal time for education in Massachusetts and across the country, right? As we think about each of the sectors from early education and care through post-secondary. As I begin this morning, I want to acknowledge that there are students, families, and communities who are scared or unsure about the future. Let me say to all of you, as I would to all of them, without hesitation, that in Massachusetts, we care about each other. Whoever you are, however you identify, whomever you love. These values were true yesterday, they're true today, and they'll continue to guide our work going forward, transforming our education systems as we think about our future, to be more equitable, more affordable, and more accessible for all students. It is through these values of equity, access, and excellence that we assess our progress and chart our path forward. They anchor our celebrations of success, drive our analysis of the impact of our work, and steer the work ahead. For example, yesterday, the National Assessment of Education Progress, or NAEP, released their results. As my beloved grandmother used to say to all of her grandchildren, you can celebrate something every single day. And in the release of these results, we can celebrate the hard work of students and the community of educators and supporters who guide their learning. Of course, we are not where we want to be in terms of progress, not just in relation to the pandemic recovery context in which we are currently working, but more so as we look at the results before the pandemic. That said, I am intimately familiar with the kind of work that it takes to maintain and prevent the slide, and I'm grateful for the work, our ability to prevent that slide. Massachusetts remains #1 in education across all 4 assessments of the NAEP, yet the results also showed that there are many students still experiencing challenges around reading. Too many gaps remain in student in achievement across student subgroups, and so as we celebrate, we also intentionally plan how our work will continue. We have made progress, moving towards realizing an education system that truly delivers a high-quality, empowering education to every student in Massachusetts, regardless of their zip code, background, or circumstance. That progress has stood on 3 organizing principles, and you've heard me say them here before. Stabilize, heal, transform. Coming into this role from the superintendency in a community that was hit hard by the pandemic, I knew full well that the road back from the pandemic was not going to be short. I am fully aware of the depth of the impact of that troubling time, and so we hit the ground running with these organizing principles as the underpinning of our work. Today, I want to use my time to share a few reflections on that progress that we've made and outline our goals and priorities for the year ahead. I'm standing before you, all of you, educators, leaders, people who care about the education sector. You know as well as I do that behind every initiative and every strategy is a person, a student, an educator, a caregiver. And this time around, I want to lift up the impact that we can have and to anchor these reflections through people and their stories. You were right about this podium. My lower back is already. If I'm invited back next year, let's get like something that lifts this thing up so I can stand up straight. Okay. Let me begin this morning with early education and with the experience of Tabitha Williams, the owner of Ashley's Preschool and Daycare in Salem. Ms. Williams has been able to leverage the Commonwealth Preschool Partnership Initiative, or CPPI, to allow families to send their children to her program. We developed CPPI as a means toward universally accessible pre-K through funds that provide private pay families with discounted tuition. One family was able to use the tuition for their child to obtain a pass for museums and other activities like swim lessons. Their child had been experiencing difficulties, and this level of affordability allowed them to engage in other activities that made this student blossom. The child was able to do more and better interact with his peers as a result. That family's experience is an example of the magic of CPPI, which helps expand low to no cost pre-K through classes in public and community-based programs, thereby leveling the playing field for academic success in general and kindergarten readiness in particular. I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight the second P in CPPI, which is partnership. Not only does this initiative expand affordable access to preschool, it creates the critical partnership between districts and early education providers, aligning materials, strategy, professional learning, all in service of creating a seamless, supported, and impactful experience for the student. Now, as it relates to impact, this year, CPPI is supporting more than 203 affordable preschool classrooms that represent nearly 3,000 seats for children across public and community-based preschool programs. We want to support all of the current grantees to expand access, adding more classrooms and more seats. We will also welcome new communities to join, focusing first on gateway communities. We are currently in 17 of the 26, as well as rural areas, and with a long-term goal, as Governor Healey has communicated, of children having access, universal access across all cities and towns. CPPI is one of 3 pillars of the administration's Gateway to Pre-K agenda that prioritizes promoting affordable, accessible, and equitable early education and care. A second pillar is the Commonwealth Cares for Children, or C3 program. When other states faced the child care cliff as federal funding ended, Massachusetts did not, because we chose to invest in our continuing progress and access to early education and care. In fact, our investments have helped stabilize the system and grow beyond pre-pandemic license capacity. This administration, in partnership with the legislature, and I give my thanks to the legislators who are here, invested a historic amount in child care, including continuing C3 at $475 million each year. This investment has added seats, reduced costs, increased wages for educators, and allowed providers to invest in quality programming. Under this administration, we have added more than 15,000 new seats for children of working families across Massachusetts. A lot of that growth is thanks to C3. The third pillar of our Gateway to Pre-K initiative is the significant reforms we've brought to our child care financial assistance programs, which make it easier for families to access help in paying for care and simpler for programs to administer. This year, we want to fund these programs at $1.1 billion to help families pay for child care, especially for those families being served by the Department of Children and Families and the Department of Transitional Assistance. Under the administration, child care financial assistance provider rates have increased by almost $90 million. We've also made transformational changes in how rates are set, using the cost of providing care for the first time. This change has led to an improved rate structure that better covers infant and toddler costs for all providers and making sure that providers are being paid a fair rate regardless of where they're located. We're not stopping there. Last year, I joined you all right after the governor had signed her executive order calling for the whole of state government to lean into finding solutions for the challenges we know exist in the early education and care sector. With my co-chairs in labor and economic development, we traveled around the state to hear from you on what was working well and where the challenges remain. I look forward to releasing a report soon to demonstrate what we learned and where we can go next. That is coming in short order. As I shift now to our sharing a little bit about our work in early literacy, I want to introduce you to a couple of students whom Governor Healey and I had the pleasure of meeting on our fall visit to Clinton Elementary School, where we talked with fourth grade students about their love of reading. Clinton Elementary School has been participating in DESE's Appleseeds grant, which provides materials for teaching foundational reading skills in kindergarten through second grade. One student, Emily, shared with us that sometimes it can be hard to read. When she was in second grade, she didn't know that the PH letters could make the F sound. Then, Appleseed's lessons helped her learn phonics, which in turn helped her to decode many, many words. Now Emily expresses that reading helps her learn a lot in school and that she loves to read, not just in school, but also in her spare time. Emily's classmate, Femi, shared that Appleseeds helped him become a reader, that it was fun and that he loved reading and learning through that process. Now he reports that he knows so many more sounds and can read chapter books. Someday, when he's a football player, he'll tell kids how important it is to read. What Emily and Femi experience is what we want for all students. But data continues to show us that many, many students are experiencing reading challenges. So this year we kicked off Literacy Launch, building off the success of programs like Appleseed and other literacy strategies. Literacy Launch is a multi-year strategy designed to promote high-quality, evidence-based reading instruction so that students can read and read well. Thanks to our partners in the legislature, this is funded currently at $20 million. And I want to name that this is hard work that will take time. We're not talking only about systems change in school districts, we're also talking about changing mindsets. We are asking for $25 million for the second year to reach more districts, more classrooms, more educators, and more students. And in addition to the evidence-based reading instruction, research shows that high-dosage tutoring can also have an incredible impact on students, particularly those who are currently behind grade level. Therefore, we are also proposing an additional $25 million for early literacy high-dosage tutoring initiative that is designed to help 10,000 students right now. This initiative will support Massachusetts public schools and districts to partner with approved providers in order to accelerate literacy growth for students in grades K through 3 with a priority of students in grade 1. Our investment in high dosage tutoring will work in tandem with Literacy Launch. We all agree that literacy skills are foundational to a student's ability to learn in all content areas and disciplines throughout their educational career. More broadly, and perhaps more importantly though, this is a foundational skill set that is about the quality of one's life. We have to get this right. We are deeply committed to this work and therefore have proposed doubling early literacy funding next year to $50 million in total. Literacy funding is one component of supporting the financial needs of our school communities. I had an opportunity to sit down with 20 students from the Northampton Youth Commission last year to talk about their experience and that of their peers. They were clear. Funding gaps in communities like theirs are having impact, not just on the experience, but on things that they believe are fundamental to their growth, to their development, to their success. We know that, like many of us, school districts are facing increased costs and high inflation. For the last 2 years, the administration has fully funded the Chapter 70 increases under the Student Opportunity Act. This year, we plan to do that again. And going even further to make sure that districts have what they need to meet students' needs. We want to invest the highest amount ever into special education circuit breaker funding to address the growth and costs in both special education instruction and transportation. We want to increase education transportation reimbursement by $21 million. Further, we propose to start the conversation around minimum aid at $75 per student, which is an historic start point. These are investments that will touch all districts, but notably regional districts and those in rural communities that are struggling mightily. I think everyone here knows my background is in high school, and as a high school principal, high school teacher, I can say with great confidence that we need a revolution in high school in Massachusetts. The administration, somebody snapping over there, son? Okay. Get spiritual in here about high school. The administration has been look at Chad like, just keep going, man. Stop all the ad libs. The administration has been focused on reimagining the high school experience, ensuring that Massachusetts students are prepared to thrive in a college or career when they graduate. To stay competitive as the world awaits them continues to change, students need to be prepared for today's workforce and skills and tomorrow's. To be the leaders we know each individual can be, students need to be able to think critically, communicate clearly, collaborate effectively, embrace creativity, and understand themselves and the world around them. High school can and should be the vehicle toward these ends. That's why we're deepening our investments in early college, innovation career pathways, and career and technical education programs. The administration has increased the number of students participating in early college programs by nearly 2,000 in the past 2 years. That's a 31% increase, and added 16 new partnerships. We hope to expand early college programs to reach over 20,000 students by 2030, so that students can take these classes, earn college credit at no cost to them or their families. We want to expand innovation career pathways to cover a quarter of the state's public high schools, giving approximately 7,400 students access to applied, hands-on coursework and opportunities in high-demand industries such as clean energy, IT, and manufacturing. Right now, thinking from a higher vantage point, I believe that Massachusetts has the opportunity to bring the definition of what it means to graduate from high school to new heights. In her State of the Commonwealth address, Governor Healey announced that she has established a Massachusetts statewide graduation council to be co-chaired by myself and Commissioner Johnson. We're bringing together a large table of diverse stakeholders to examine how our state can ensure that all students graduate with the skills necessary to succeed, regardless of their background or location, and demonstrate these qualities through a consistent statewide set of expectations. I'm eager to get this work underway and look forward to keeping you all updated as it progresses. I'd like to briefly shift to our work in strengthening mental health among all of our students. The country's been facing a youth mental health crisis that has manifested in many ways that requires a multitude of responses. We got to work reducing chronic absenteeism so that students were in school, getting access to the education and the opportunities they need, but also to access the other supports that we know will support them in moving forward. We've also made investments in meeting students' hierarchy of need. universal school meals being one of them, and supporting the addition of counselors in schools. We've invested in funding at DESE and EEC for mental and social emotional health for student supports, and we're looking to fund that again at a rate of $21 million. We also just this year kicked off work to create a statewide birth through higher education framework for mental and behavioral health to clearly define the challenge, support the most impactful strategies to address it, and track progress from early education through higher education. We also know that the research continues to show us the impact of cell phones. We know that can be a harmful distraction in school, and it impacts the emotional well-being and impedes a student's ability to learn. I continue to hear feedback from caregivers, from educators, and some students, not all of them, that a more comprehensive approach is necessary to ensure a children's academic success and social and emotional well-being. And we look forward to working with the Attorney General's office and the legislature this year to address that. I'd like to conclude, much to Chad's delight, with sharing a little bit about our progress and plans in higher education. And to do so, I'll relay just one more story. Last August, Karen Arujo and her family were losing hope that she'd be able to attend Framingham State University in the fall. Karen had aspired to be the first in her family to go to college, but the nearly $13,000 bill for the fall semester was out of reach. But with Mass Grant Plus, her bill for the semester ended up being less than a third of the initial price tag at $3,600. In her words, "My parents have worked hard all of my life, but college is expensive. Before we knew it, I was a senior and I was figuring out how to fill out a college application. Then the bill came and the worry. But with financial support from Mass Grant Plus, she told us that all the stress melted away. She's been able to avoid taking out student loans, and if this level of financial aid continues, she may graduate debt-free. College is not easy, but it's worth it," she said. "Don't give up on your dreams." We're not giving up on our dream of ensuring that all students can access post-secondary opportunities and persist to graduation. Under this administration, we have doubled state funding for financial aid, making community college free and four-year institutions more affordable. Massachusetts now has one of the most accessible, equitable, and comprehensive free community college programs in the country, which has led to a preliminary 24% increase in community college enrollment over the past 2 years. We've also expanded Mass Grant Plus, making four-year colleges and universities tuition and fee-free for Pell-eligible students, and cutting the out-of-pocket expenses for middle-income families in half. This expansion has led to the first growth in enrollment in Massachusetts public four-year campuses in nearly a decade. This year, we want to maintain all of these historic expansions. Yet we know that access is only part of it. We also want to see students persist and graduate. For the first time this year, we expanded success funding to Massachusetts' 9 state universities. This program has been available at community colleges for the past few years with promising results. These funds support services such as peer mentors, academic skills workshops, academic and career advising, and scholarships aimed at increasing graduation rates, particularly among historically underrepresented students. We aim to continue this investment again this year. As enrollment increases, we also want to make sure that students are going into a modern, green, innovative space to set them up for success. That's why Governor Healey filed the BRIGHT Act, the largest proposed infrastructure investment in Massachusetts public higher education system in decades, to transform the UMass system, state universities, and community colleges. Over the next 10 years, this will modernize campuses, including new labs, classrooms, and improved mental health facilities to ensure that Massachusetts public higher education system can best serve the students and keep the state economically competitive. All of these intentional investments and parallel strategies I've just described have led to incredible progress. This progress is a win for students, our workforce, and communities, our entire state, in fact, showing why Massachusetts is the best place to live, the best place to learn, the best place to raise a family. Now, as I used to tell my students when I was a high school history teacher, perhaps the most important element of educational attainment is to secure control over your life. That can mean pursuit of a career of your choice or interest, engaging in activities and initiatives that are important to you and your community, and actively participating in our democracy. That remains the foundation for why we do this work. Love for each individual student. In Massachusetts, we have a long history of educational excellence. Everything we're doing today is because of our commitment to carry this educational excellence into the future. We will continue to lead the way, making sure that schools reflect our communities and our values. Our students deserve nothing less. Thank you all for your patience. Thank you, Chad.